First of all, I'd like to recognize that we are on unceded Indigenous people's land here in Vancouver. We recognize that, and we wish their right to self-determination will be achieved as soon as possible. They waited long enough, 400 years. Having said that, the solidarity between the indigenous people of North America and the Palestinian people go way back to the 70s. I recall I was in Beirut, it's no secret, in the early 70s, and a native delegation came to Beirut, headed by the son of Marlon Brando, who used to be indigenous activist in his own rights, Marlon Brando, but his son headed the AIM, the American Indian Movement delegation who came to Beirut. I wasn't there, but I hear that they visited Arafat. And when they visited Arafat, he had an indigenous person character on his desk. And they asked him, why you have this here? You know, why you... And Arafat told them to remind me what they did to you. I want to remember what they did to you so it won't happen to me. Unfortunately, Arafat didn't learn that lesson because he signed the Oslo Accord and trusted the Americans, and look where we are now. 25 years later of negotiations, and the Palestinian struggle is set back at least 30 years, if not the 25 they wasted on negotiation. And we ended up with a collaborator as head of the Palestinian Authority. You want me to name him? His name is Abbas, Mahmoud Abbas Abu Mazen. They call him Abu Mazen. So it's clear, you know, we are really in difficult situation. That's why our trust, I never trusted the American, but the leadership trust in the Americans was stupid, to say the least, because they betrayed us many times. They betrayed us in '82 when the PLO left Beirut, and they were promised not to enter Beirut, that the Israelis won't enter Beirut, and the safety of the Palestinian camps. We ended up with the Sabra and Shatila massacre, with over 4,000 being murdered in cold blood by the agents of the Israeli military. Sharon was then the defense minister. And so, make it brief, really, our struggle is important. The international solidarity movement came as a result of the inaction of the international community. The boat to Gaza was as a result of the international solidarity movement after that to break the siege on Gaza. The BDS movement also was a result of the inaction of the international community, and specifically the Arab regimes who are in collaboration with the Israel and the West in general and the US in specific. So this is what we count on, the rank and file solidarity movement all over the world. And by the way, international solidarity movement and the BDS is Palestinian-led, and we emphasize that it is Palestinian-led because we want to decide our own destiny. And we can say to Abbas also, you don't represent us, because he doesn't. He represents the occupation. He collaborates with the occupation. He has security coordination with the occupation. So he doesn't represent us, and we tell him enough is enough. Pack up your bags and leave us in peace, and let the Palestinian people continue the struggle. Just to talk a bit very briefly about the also local solidarity with the indigenous people. In the early 70s, we had a coalition called the Third World People's Coalition, where we had a study group called the Native Study Group that was part of it. And since then, we are cooperating with our indigenous brothers and sisters. In 74, 75, we formed this coalition. Our indigenous brothers and sisters in the study group used to join us in our events. I mentioned specifically they joined us in a demonstration against Moshe Dayan when he came to UBC and the Bay Shore Inn where he had a fundraising dinner. Also, we supported them in their struggle. Leonard Peltier was then in jail, and they were hearing to deport him to the US. So we used to go every Saturday. There, I remember every Saturday was a demonstration to support Leonard Peltier. Eventually, on false evidence, they deported him to the US, and he's still rotting in the American jail. And we say, free Leonard Peltier and free all political prisoners. Our indigenous brothers and sisters, actually sisters, gave us this eagle feather in solidarity with our struggle. It came as a result of the AFN chief, Assembly of First Nation chief, Phil Ponte, went to Israel with a delegation of 16 chiefs. And this was outrageous to us, and many of our indigenous brothers and sisters supported us. They asked us for educational about what's happening. We went there, and they gave us this indigenous people. And as I said before, this is our passport and visa to this land, and we value it, and we thank them for giving it to us. Just like our indigenous people's tradition and our tradition, we like to present a gift to our brother, the kufiya. We're going to present him with the kufiya. This is original kufiya from the Kharbawi, from Hebron. It's the only factory in Palestine that's still producing kufiyas. So we please accept this and wish you a very safe trip to Palestine and back to Gaza and back. And if you like, you could, this is from a conference here in Vancouver, and this is what the people of Gaza are struggling about, if you hear. They are struggling peacefully for their right of return. 70 to 80% of the population of Gaza are refugees, and that's why they are struggling every week, every Friday, for their right to return. I hope you can wear it on your trip. Thank you.